in a changing climate. It's my honor to be your compere this morning. So I'd like to first introduce all the distinguished personalities who are here this morning. I'll start off with our First Lady, as I would always refer to her, the Vice Chancellor, the first female Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji, FAS, who is represented this morning by the Dean of School of Physical Sciences, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola. We'd like you to kindly come to the high table, sir. We have the presence of the registrar represented this morning, our registrar, Mr. Charles Olusegun Adeleye, represented by Dr. Gio Ajayi. You're welcome, sir. Please come to the high table. I would like to introduce also our bursar, Mr. Peter Oshaduga, who is represented this morning by Mrs. Bidemi Omotere. The Deputy Bursar, you're welcome. I would like to bring to the high table the Dean School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, Professor Ayodeji Ululeye. You're welcome, sir. And I would like to especially welcome the guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, the Director General, CEO, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, represented by Mr. Stephen Jabo. You're welcome. Can we put our hands together for Mr. Jabo? I would like to recognize the Chairman, Annual Lecture Committee, SEMS, Dr. Owe, please come to the high table as well. A round of applause for him. We have the representative of the Commissioner for Education, Professor Igekele Ajibefun, Mrs. Modupe Odidiomo, you're welcome. Please come to the high table, ma'am. I'd like to go on and recognize other members of staff who are here. We have our leaders, the Dean School of Life Sciences, Professor Kolawole Olajumoye, you're welcome, sir. The Dean School of Electrical Systems Engineering, Professor Adegoke Oladeko Melody, you're welcome. The Dean Student Affairs, Professor David Olariwajoke, you're welcome. Director Academic Planning, Professor Oluwaseyi Awodele, you're welcome. I'd like to introduce the former HOD AMP, Professor O.J. Akintorewa, you're welcome. Professor A. Akinpobola, former HOD MCS, Deputy Director. Wascal, you're welcome. Professor Vincent Ajayi, HOD MCS Department, you're welcome. Professor G.M. Olayoju, HOD HEP Department, it's good to have you here, you're welcome. The Director, Pewash, Ondo State, Mrs. Abiola Adeyinka, you're welcome. And of course, we welcome every other person whose name has not been mentioned this morning. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please acquire your indulgence. Can you all rise as we take the national and future anthems? Shall we all rise?
Nigerians all and proud to serve us all.
applause for the best Federal University of Technology in Nigeria. Thank you very much once again. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 12th Annual Lecture and Awards of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, Federal University of Technology, Akure. I'd like to bring up now, before I bring up the Dean School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, please permit me to introduce Professor Debo Adeyewa. He's a former legacy academic, former director of WASCA, and former vice chancellor of University University. Welcome, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee of this annual lecture, I welcome you once again as I bring to the podium the Dean, School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, Professor Ayudeji Oluleye.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Academic Development, the Registrar, other Principal Officers of the University, Deans of Schools and Directors of Centers, Heads of Departments and Units, distinguished professors and colleagues, students of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, our esteemed guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, distinguished guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, great Futurians. It is with profound joy and honor that I warmly welcome you all to the 12th annual lecture series of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, SEMS, Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa. This occasion is more than a tradition. It is a convergence of minds, a platform for robust dialogue, and a reaffirmation of our commitment to academic excellence, national development, and global relevance. We are particularly thrilled to hold this year's distinguished guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, an esteemed professional whose contribution to sustainable development and environmental planning continue to resonate nationally and internationally. It is noteworthy and deeply appreciated that despite his demanding schedule, he generally sponsored himself his flight from Abuja to be with us today. Thank you so much. This singular act of commitment and selflessness is not only commendable, but a strong testament to his passion for knowledge dissemination and capacity building. The theme of this year's annual lecture, Water Resources Management in Nigeria, Building a Sustainable Future of Economic Development in a Changing Climate, is both timely and critical. As we contend with the reality of climate change, rising temperatures, erratic rainfall patterns, desertification, and extreme weather events, there is growing pressure on our already strained water resources. Nigeria, like many nations in the global south, faces the urgent challenge of ensuring access to clean and sufficient water while sustaining agriculture, industry, and energy production. Effective water resources management is foundational to our national development goals, from irrigation for food security to hydropower generation, from mobile water supply to groundwater protection. We must innovate, invest, and implement policies that will guarantee long-term water security for our growing population. Today's lecture will provide much needed insights into how we can align water governance with sustainable economic planning amidst climate uncertainties. As a school, SEMS has continued to build on its legacy of excellence. Established at the inception of FUTA in 1982, SEMS was among the first schools curated to drive the university vision of producing graduates with practical and theoretical expertise in science and technology. Over the years, The school has undergone various social and academic reforms to meet emerging national and global needs. Currently, SEMS comprises 5 dynamic departments: Department of Applied Geology, Department of Applied Geophysics, Department of Meteorology and Climate Science, Department of Marine Science and Technology, Department of Remote Sensing and Geoscience Information System. This department offers undergraduate and postgraduate programs tailored to equip students with interdisciplinary skills in earth sciences, environmental monitoring, space technology, and ocean dynamics. We are proud of our alumni who are making meaningful contributions in government agencies, research institutions, and private sector, both within and outside Nigeria. In line with vision of FUTA, our national development priorities, SEMS has continued to review and improve the curriculum to reflect emerging scientific realities and industry demands. The school is also expanding research collaboration and exploring technological innovations, especially in the areas such as hydrology, climate modeling, renewable energy, geospatial intelligence, and environmental sustainability. I'm proud to say that our academic community, staff, and students alike remain committed to upholding values of discipline, diligence, and distinction. Permit me at this point to acknowledge and appreciate the SEMS Annual Lecture Committee for the meticulous planning and tireless efforts that have gone into putting this event together. I also deeply thank the VC and the University Management for their unwavering support and encouragement at all times. To our guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, we express our heartfelt gratitude not only for accepting our invitation, but also for the spirit of generosity you have shown. Your presence today is an inspiration to all of us. To the SEMS family, thank you for your dedication, resilience, continuous pursuit of excellence. Let us use this opportunity to learn, to connect, and to recommit ourselves to building a future where knowledge is translated into solutions. As we engage with today's lecture and reflect on the pressing water challenges of our time, may we live here with renewed insight and stronger resolve to work towards a sustainable, climate resilient, and economically vibrant Nigeria. We have indeed come a long way, and by the grace of God, we will continue to go further. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Can we give the Dean another round of applause? Thank you very much. I'd like to take more recognitions as we proceed. I'd like to recognize Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Umar Ibrahim Mohammed. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to recognize the awardees who are here this morning, Professor Pius Adekunle and Nicole Shidu, the former Dean SEMS. You're welcome, sir. Professor Adeleye Yekini Abiodun Anifowoshi, former Dean SEMS as well. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to recognize Professor M.C. Olowo Kere, Department of Applied Geophysics, and former Shell Professor of Geophysics. You're welcome, ma'am. I'll take further recognitions. We have here this morning Professor. All right, I'll just take them as they come in. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring up to the podium the Vice Chancellor this morning, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladichi, who is well represented this morning by the Dean School of Physical Sciences, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent the Vice Chancellor, who's unavailably absent. Currently, we have a council meeting, and she's there, and so that's why I'm representing her here. I will read her address as a pendant here. Address of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Adenike Oladeji, FAS, at the 12th annual lecture of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, SEMS, held Friday, 22nd August 2025, in the T.I. Francis Auditorium. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Development, Registrar and other principal officers, top government functionaries, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, our distinguished guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, Dean of Schools of Earth and Mineral Sciences, Professor Ayodoji Oluleye, other deans, directors present here, the organizing committee, ably led by Dr. Olusegun Adekoyejo Dada, members of the staff of SEMS, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Futurian. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 12th annual lecture of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences of our great institution. I welcome most heartily our distinguished guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency in Abuja. This annual lecture serves has become an intellectual beacon, one that constantly draws attention to pressing national and global issues while showcasing the intellectual rigor of academic community. This year's theme, Water Resources Management in Nigeria, building a sustainable future for economic development in a challenging climate, is not only timely but critically important. Water, as we all know, is life. It is fundamental to human survival, agriculture, energy production, and industrial development. However, in the context of increasing climate variability and population growth, the management of water resources demand urgent, strategic, and innovative responses. Nigeria, like many other developing nations, is already experiencing impact of climate change. Unpredictable rainfall pattern, we have flood, we have drought, we have contamination of surfaces and groundwater. These changes pose real threat to the national development, food security, health, and environmental sustainability. We are therefore especially honored to have our guest lecturer today, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, Abuja. A distinguished professional, public servant, Architect Mohammed brings with him years of practical experience in hydrological services and water management policies. We are confident that he will help us to shape the policy and academic discourse on sustainable water resources management in our country. As a University of Technology, FUTA remains committed to engaging with such challenges through research, innovation, and capacity building. The School of Earth and Mineral Sciences has over the year played a pivotal role in generating knowledge on geosciences, hydrology, environmental management. This lecture series further strengthens that commitment by providing a platform for dialogue among researchers, policymakers, industry experts, and students. I urge our faculty and students not to merely attend, but to absorb and engage with the idea that will be shared today. Let this lecture inspire new research direction, interdisciplinary collaboration, community-focused solution, that can make a difference beyond the academia. Let me take a moment to appreciate the immediate past dean of the School of Earth and Mineral Science, Professor Adeleye Yekin Biodun Anifose, for sustaining this important aspect of the university culture. I must acknowledge the resourcefulness of Professor Anifose and its worthy contribution to the development of the university. His resilience and forthrightness is worthy of emulation in this our academic community. On behalf of the university management, I express profound appreciation for your exemplary leadership in the shadow as dean, and hope you will continue to be a guide to the younger generation. I wish to congratulate new dean of the school, Professor Ayodeji Oluleye, on your assumption of office. I wish you a successful tenure of office. I also wish to use this opportunity to thank the entire members of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences for making today's event a reality, and particularly the Chair SEMS Annual Lecture Committee, Dr. Olusegun Adekoyo Dada, and his team, who have worked tirelessly to make this event a success. Your dedication ensure that FUTA continue to be a hub for critical thinking and innovation. And on behalf of the university management, I thank you most immensely. In conclusion, I hope that today's discussion will bring out new ideas, to ignite new ideas, foster strength, partnership, and ultimately contribute to the building a more water secure, economically viable, and climate resilient Nigeria. Thank you, and you are all welcome. Slide, Professor Adeleke. God bless you.
A bigger round of applause for the Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much. We'll take more courtesies as I introduce the Director, Technique, Professor Olutola Obafemi Olubanjo. You're welcome. I'd like to recognize all the professors who are here. Professor Owe Ademeso, HOD, you're welcome. Professor S.A. Adegoyega, we welcome you, HOD as RSG. Professor Adegoyega, you're welcome, sir. Professor Ashiwaju Bello, you're welcome. Professor Okwenoye, you're welcome. Professor E.C. Okogwe, former director, CCE, you're welcome. Professor Adiet, you're welcome. Professor Kende Mogachi, we welcome you. Professor Adeyemo, Professor O.S. Ayodele, you're all welcome. Moving on, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're at the center of the...
I want to extend his greetings and warm felicitations to this university for giving him this opportunity to showcase his achievements in water resources assessment and management in Nigeria. So once again, on his behalf, I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Professor Adenike Tividayo Oladeji, who is ably represented here by Professor Adebola F.B., the Dean, School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, Professor Ayodeji Olule, other principal officers of the university here present, the Chairman, Annual Lecture Planning Committee, Dr. Olusegun Adeokoyejo Dada and his team, members of staff of the university here present, students of the university here present, other invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning all. My name is Jabo Stephen Margima. I'm the technical advisor to the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, who is unavoidably absent here today. He would have loved to be personally here, but due to the exigencies of office, he could not come. However, he has asked me to represent him here and present this paper on his behalf, and also extend his warm greetings to the university. On this note, it is my honor and privilege, therefore, to present this paper on his behalf. Thank you very much. The topic of today, as given to the agency by the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences of this university, is water resources management in Nigeria, building a sustainable future for economic development in a changing climate. Now, the outline of the presentation goes like the potential of Nigeria, national water policy, current state of water resources in Nigeria, challenges to sustainable water resources management in Nigeria, building a sustainable future for economic development, and conclusion. Now, the paper begins with the introduction of where Nigeria is. Nigeria is located in West Africa, with a total land mass about 923,768 square kilometers. It is bordered by several countries. To the west, the Benin Republic; to the north, the Niger Republic; to the east, Chad and Cameroon; and to the south, by the Gulf of Guinea. The country has an annual rainfall that ranges from the north of about 500 millimeters per year and gradually increases down south to more than 3,500 millimeters per annum. Now, water resources management. Water resources management is the process of planning, developing, and managing water resources in terms of both water quality and quantity across all water uses. It encompasses the institutions, infrastructure, incentives, and information systems that support and guide water management. The control and movement of the country's water resources to minimize damage to life and property and maximize efficient beneficial use, such as rainwater harvesting, wastewater treatment, and reuse, smart irrigation practices, water conservation in residential and industrial sectors, and flood management systems. Water management also involves a variety of approaches and techniques aimed at ensuring the sustainable use and distribution of water resources to meet human needs while protecting the ecosystems. The core principles include planning, reducing waste, treating and recycling water, providing clean water for various sectors, and protecting water bodies from pollution. Now, the water resources potential of Nigeria. The main source of water in Nigeria are from rainfall, groundwater, and surface water. Now, looking at the surface water resources of Nigeria, Nigeria is blessed with numerous network of rivers that crisscross the entire country. And these river systems can be classified into three major types. The principal ones being the two transboundary rivers that originate from outside the country and flows into Nigeria. These are rivers Niger and River Benue, along with their tributaries, flows south-south and empties into the Atlantic Ocean. Now the river Niger enters into Nigeria at Jidre Bode in Kebbi State and has several tributaries like Sokoto Rima, River Urara, River Kaduna. Even Benue itself is a tributary of River Niger, Anambra River, and others are tributaries of River Niger. Now looking at the Benue from outside Cameroon and comes into Nigeria at a place called Uroboki in Adamawa State. This river has several tributaries, such as River Katsina Ala, River Mada, River Donga, River Deb, River Faro, River Shemenka, River Gongola, River Taraba, Howell, and so on. So these two biggest transboundary rivers flows and meet at Lokoja, Kogi State. That's where the confluence is, and then flows down south-south and empties its water content into the Atlantic Ocean. Now the second group of rivers are those rivers that originate in Nigeria, particularly around the north-central Jos Plateau and the Mandara Mountains in the northeast of the country. Such rivers are the Komodugu Yobe River System, River Ngada, River Yeza, and they flow northeast. Some of them empty into the Lake Chad. Now the third group of rivers in Nigeria are the rivers that are small and flow for a short and empties directly into the Atlantic Ocean. Such rivers are River Imo, River Cross, River Ose, Osisebo, Ogun, Oshun, Yewa, and so on. Now, coming to the groundwater aspect of it, the groundwater resources of Nigeria is stored within its sedimentary basins and the basement rocks of Nigeria. Now, Nigeria is blessed with several sedimentary basins and located in several areas. The sedimentary rock covers 50% of the landmass of Nigeria, and the basement rocks equally covers 50% of the landmass of the country. Now, in the sedimentary basins, we have about 7 transboundary aquifers that are being shared by several countries. Now, in the southwest here is the Dahomey and Keta Basin, which is being shared by Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana. Now you go to the northwest, we have the Sokoto Basin, which is part of the Urumedium Basin, and covers 4 states of Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Katsina. This basin is part of the larger Urumedium Basin, and also covers part of the Taudani Tanin-Zorof Aquifers Basin that is being shared by 8 countries of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Algeria, and Libya. Now you come to the northeast and southeast are the Midway Trough and Rio de Rey basins that's majorly shared by Nigeria and Cameroon. Now, the international community attention has been focused on 2 of these transboundary basins, namely the Sokoto Basin and the Chad Basin. The reason being that these are the 2 basins that are water stressed in Nigeria, because the water resources of Nigeria basically are located within the north-central geopolitical zone, the south-south, the southeast, and the southwest. Whereas in the north, it's a water-stressed region by the fact that the annual rainfall is very low and often lasts for a short period of time, maybe 3 months or at most 4 months. And this region is located in the semi-arid area of the country with a very high temperatures and high evapotranspiration rate, and coupled with high competing demands for water resources, for industrial, agricultural, domestic, livestock uses, and so on. So the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency has been collaborating with these countries that we jointly share these groundwater resources under collaboration of regional agencies like the Sahara and Sahel Observatory that is based in Tunis, Tunisia, and the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, Austria. So we have been collaborating on these 2 basins, the Chad Basin and the Sokoto Basin, with respect to managing the shared water resources sustainably. Now, the surface water resources, particularly the River Niger, is being shared by about 9 countries. And for the effective governance and management of these shared water resources, the Niger Basin Authority has been created with its headquarters in Niamey, Niger Republic, and likewise the international collaboration the agency has been having with IAEA in Vienna and OSS in Tunis is to create a consultative mechanism with the aim of creating a regional institution like the NBA on surface water, on water resources, to be jointly managed by those riparian countries that shares these underground water resources. And here is a geological map of Nigeria with the distribution of the sedimentary basins and the basement complex rocks. Like I said, each of them occupies 50% of the land mass of Nigeria. Now, water budgeting. Water budgeting is the systematic evaluation and planning of water resources involving the allocation and management of water supply and demand. It is essentially a balance sheet for water resources, ensuring that the water inflow, like precipitation and surface runoff, matches the outflow needs, such as for agricultural, industrial, and domestic uses, while considering storage factors like reservoirs and aquifers. The concept of water budgeting now includes green water, that is water absorbed by soil and plants through rainfall, and grey water concept from domestic or agricultural drainage, and blue water from rivers, basins, and underground sources. This picture illustrates Nigeria water budget, water resources model, looks at the precipitation and the distribution of this precipitation in terms of runoff, evapotranspiration, groundwater-based flow, and the water that enters into Nigeria through the surface source, and mainly from the two biggest rivers, international rivers, rivers Niger and River Benue. Now, Nigeria's national water policy outlines strategies for managing and developing water resources and aims to ensure access to safe and sufficient water for all. Now, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation is the principal institution in Nigeria charged with the responsibility of policy formulation, management, and it oversees 12 river basin development authorities and 3 agencies. Now, the 12 river basin development authorities are charged with the responsibility of developing and managing the water resources within their catchment areas. Some of these river basins include Benin-Orina River Basin Development Authority, Omo Ocean River Basin Development Authority, Niger Delta River Basin Development Authority, Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority, Cross River Basin Development Authority, Upper Niger River Basin Development Authority, Lower Niger River Basin Development Authority, Cross River, Upper Niger, and Lower Niger River Basin Development Authorities. Then you have the Chad Basin Development Authority, Adija Jabari River Basin Development Authority, and Sokoto River Basin Development Authority. Now, the 3 agencies that are under the Water Ministry are the National Water Resources Institute that is based in Kaduna. Its main function is to train middle-level personnel for the water sector in Nigeria, and they equally train people from Africa, particularly the West Africa sub-region. The second agency is the Nigeria Integrated Water Resources Management Commission, which is intended to regulate the water sector in Nigeria at the federal level. And lastly, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, which is standing before you representing the Director General. The agency is a parastatal of water resources and sanitation. Before its full creation to be an agency, it was formerly a department of hydrology and hydrogeology in the Water Resources Ministry, not until in the year 2010, an Act of Parliament, the President then, Goodluck Jonathan, assented to the bill, and NISA was born in August 2010. Now, the agency is charged with the overall responsibility of water resources assessment and management in Nigeria, both surface and groundwater, in terms of their source, in terms of their availability, distribution, occurrence, quality, and quantity in space and time. The agency is also charged with the responsibility of collecting hydrological data nationwide on a continuous basis, and this data are used for the assessment, for the planning, design, and execution of water resources projects and other allied projects. In this regard, its major functions are: it advises federal and state governments on all matters of hydrology in the country. It establishes hydrological stations, both manual and digital, on all the network of rivers that crisscross the country. It also established groundwater monitoring stations, particularly in the sedimentary basins of the country, to monitor groundwater fluctuations due to abstraction and seasonal changes. It also carries out hydrogeological mapping of Nigeria, saline water intrusion studies in the coastal and inland areas of the country. It is also charged with the responsibility of collecting borehole data nationwide. The agency also is saddled with the overall responsibility of flood forecasting and issuing of early warning. It establishes automatic weather observation stations, as well as flood early warning systems in the country, and also it carries out flood vulnerability mapping of Nigeria. Furthermore, the agency is saddled with the responsibility of monitoring and managing the transboundary basins that I've just given, that is shared by several countries in different locations of the country. And then it applies isotope hydrology techniques in water resources assessment and management, groundwater and geophysical investigation throughout the country. So these are some of the functions of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. Now, what is the current state of water resources in Nigeria? The country, despite its significant water resources, faces critical challenges in sustainably managing them for economic development, especially in the face of a changing climate. We all know the impact of climate change on water resources, not only water resources, the rise in global temperatures, erratic weather patterns, and resulting in irregular rainfall that causes flooding in some areas and droughts in some places, as well as sea level rise causing coastal erosions in the coastal areas of Nigeria and other places. Now, the country is considered economically water scarce. A significant portion of the population lacks access to safe drinking water and renewable water supply per capita, and is just below the Falcon Mark water threshold. A large percentage of basic water sources are contaminated, and access to the resource is uneven, with the urban areas having better access than the rural areas. Water resources development is often fragmented and uncoordinated, leading to inefficiencies, overlapping responsibilities among different institutions managing water resources in Nigeria. Take, for instance, the issue of collection of hydrological data. Now, hydrological data collection began as far back as in 1914 by the Inland Waterways Department, which established first hydrological stations on rivers Niger and Benue for the purpose of developing water transportation and navigation. Then you have the River Basin Development Authorities also establishing hydrological stations to collect hydrological data for the development and management of water resources within their watershed. And then you have the electricity development companies that are also establishing hydrological stations for development of hydropower generation, and state water agencies. And then you have the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. Now, each of these institutions are involved in the same hydrological data collection for different purposes to actualize their respective institutional mandate. And the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is charged with the overall mandate of the repository of all hydrological data in the country, irrespective of which institution or individual that has collected this data. They are all mandated by law to submit this hydrological data to the agency. And I mentioned earlier, as part of its function, borehole data inventory. And whoever that this borehole, they are expected to collect hydrological data. There is a format for that, and you have to submit this data to the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. So there are several institutions performing what seemingly looks like the same function, but actually will complement each other. There is insufficient infrastructure to provide essential water services to the growing urban population, coupled with limited funding and weak technical capacity of these institutions. Comprehensive water quality studies are also lacking and leading to uncertainty regarding to the extent of contamination. If you listen to the message of the Vice Chancellor, as read by the VC, by the Deputy VC, highlighted all these issues that I'm talking about here. Now, what are the challenges to sustainable water resources management in Nigeria? Climate change is altering rainfall patterns, leading to unpredictable rainfall with devastating consequences on several countries in times of excess rainfall, which is leading to flooding, as well as drought in some areas. Nigeria have had its fair share of colossal economic damages due to the perennial impact of flooding. And sadly, the agency is the principal institution that is charged with the responsibility of flood forecasting and issuing of early warning. Even though there are other agencies that are also doing the same function, but we know who really has that responsibility. So, flooding disrupts water and sanitation systems, resulting to waterborne diseases, displacement of people, loss of livelihoods, loss of lives, food insecurity, destruction of critical infrastructure like roads, bridges, houses, as well as inundation of agricultural land, and crops are submerged and damaged. So the impact of flooding in Nigeria is very, very colossal. Every year we come out, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency come out with what we call annual flood outlook, which gives a detailed scenario of flooding events that are likely to happen in Nigeria before the onset of the rainy season. And this annual flood outlook gives the magnitude of the flooding that are expected, the communities that are expected, the time it is expected to happen, and the various state government and emergency management agencies, what they are expected to do every year. Now, I know some of you may be aware of this flood outlook. In 2012, Nigeria witnessed a very serious casualty from flooding. And this was further repeated in the year 2022. And then the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, in fulfillment of its mandate of flood forecasting and issuing of early warning, began to do flood forecasting, serious flood forecasting in the year 2013. And since then, every year, before the onset of the rainy season, we come out with this flood prediction from the month of April to the month of November. And apart from that, we also embark on a comprehensive sensitization campaign, awareness, for those communities that will suffer serious impact of flooding. For instance, this year's annual flood outlook was the 13th in the edition. And the highlights of that flood outlook were that this year, beginning from April to November, 1,249 communities in 176 local government areas in 30 states plus FCT were predicted to suffer high flood risk this year. And then similarly, more communities in more local government areas in 36 states and FCT are going to suffer moderate flood outlook this year. So, the agency has been up and doing in terms of flood forecasting, as well as offering mitigation measures, as well as even thinking of going into structural measures. We have been doing the non-structural measures, early warning system, flood forecasting, issuing of early warning, aggressive sensitization, We also partner with various state governments on how to see how they can mitigate the impact of flooding on their communities that suffer damage from flooding year in, year out. And we will continue to do that. Now, institutional weaknesses and lack of effective compliance with policies, fragmented responsibilities, corruption, and inadequate cost recovery mechanisms further hinders efficient water management. Lack of stakeholders' involvement and representation in water management discussion and decision making, and insufficient data. All right, so I need to hurry up. Building sustainable future water economic development, this is the main essence of this paper. And it is to overcome all these affirmation challenges and build a sustainable future for economic development. The country needs to adopt one multifaceted approach, emphasizing on integrated water resources management and climate change adaptation. Expedite the passage and implementation of comprehensive national water resources bill, which is still before the National Assembly, that carries roles, promotes equitable access, and provide for integrated planning and sustainable development and management of our water resources. Seriously invest in wastewater treatment plants to treat municipal and industrial effluent before discharge and explore opportunities for safe wastewater reuse in agriculture and industry. Integration of climate change projections into water resources planning and management by developing early warning systems for flood and drought. Protection and restoration of natural ecosystems such as wetlands and so on. Implementation of fair and transparent cost recovery mechanisms for water services to ensure financial sustainability of water utilities and promote efficient use. Strengthening of collaboration with international organizations and neighboring countries, especially for shared surface and groundwater transboundary water bodies. Conduct intensive public enlightenment campaigns to raise awareness about water scarcity, the impact of climate change, and the importance of sustainable water use and hygiene practices. Foster inclusive stakeholder engagement and establish water users associations to involve local communities in water management decisions and promote ownership of water projects. Exploration of diverse funding sources, including public-private partnerships, international development aid, climate finance, and internally generated revenue to reach the investment gaps of the water sector. Implementation of fair and transparent cost recovery mechanisms for water services to ensure financial sustainability of water utilities and promote efficient use. Strengthening of collaboration with international organizations and neighboring countries. Okay, sorry, it's like I'm repeating. Now, these pictures highlight the various activities of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. What you see here, the country has been divided into 8 hydrological areas, and each hydrological area has its own zonal office, which propose 2 field offices. Now, this is the distribution of its hydrological stations nationwide on the various rivers in the country. So far, we have been able to establish 279 hydrometric stations. The World Meteorological Organization said that the minimum standard required for Nigeria is 482 hydrological stations. We are not there, but we are still trying. Now, we talk about telemetric data collection stations, DCPs. This is the map of Nigeria that is showing the drainage networks. This DCP is a digital station that collects water information via satellite and is transmitted to an earth station that is located in the headquarters of the agency. Now, these are the stations. Look at them. The three of them are the DCPs, where the last one is a manual station. Now, automatic weather station, the agency also established automatic weather station to collect weather parameters like rainfall, temperatures, relative humidity, wind speed, and direction. Now, this is a major function of Nigerian Meteorological Agency, but we all know that the agency is focusing on airports. Now, we need this weather information for our modeling and water resources management. And we are expected to cover the remotest part of this country. And NIMET will not be there because they may not be interested in establishing such stations in those locations. They are focused on airport, so we take that responsibility. The agency take that responsibility to establish its own automatic weather stations. But we share data, we share information, so we are complementing each other. Thank you. Then discharge measurements. The agency also carries out discharge measurements on our major rivers, especially high flow discharge measurements this time of the year, where there are heavy rainfalls and our rivers are full of water. So the agency carries out discharge measurement to collect information on high water discharge as well as low water discharge around the end of the year. December, January, when the water levels in the rivers are very low. Now, this is flood alert system. Like I said, we also established flood alert system on some of the perennial rivers that will raise or blow an alarm to the community when water levels are reaching dangerous thresholds. It will raise an alarm. That's to tell the community that flood is coming. Please run to safety. Yes, so we do that. Then this is groundwater monitoring boreholes. We have so far 41, but we are supposed to monitor all the country's sedimentary basins as well as the basement areas. So what they are doing, they are downloading data from groundwater monitoring station that is equipped with data logger. This is a hydrograph of groundwater level fluctuation that is taken from some of our groundwater monitoring network stations. And these fluctuations, you can see that there is a rise and fall depicting groundwater abstraction and seasonal changes. Now, in conclusion, by addressing these multifaceted challenges with a holistic and integrated approach, Nigeria can build a resilient water sector that supports sustained economic development, improves public health, ensure food security, and adapt effectively to the impact of changing climate. Thank you very much.
Can we do it again? Can we put our hands together? Thank you very much, Mr. Guest Lecturer, Mr. Stephen Jabo. Thank you for a job well done. We'll be taking questions and answers, but before we move to that, I would like to take more recognitions. We have here this morning Professor Eso Oladejo, representing the Dean of SAT. You're welcome. We also have the representative of the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Water Resources and Public Sanitation in Ondo State. That's Honorable Ayo Dele Akpe, represented by Mrs. Adetoye. Thank you for being here with us. I'd like to recognize a former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Development and now Director, University and Craftsman Center, Professor P.G. Otunde. Welcome this sir. We also have Professor Michael Oladapo. You're welcome, sir. Professor Francis Akinbi. You're welcome, sir. And we have some certain persons who have joined virtually, like 15 persons who have joined virtually. I'd like to especially recognize Professor Emily Olade, former Dean SEMS, and Professor Idris Unga, who have joined also virtually. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the questions and answers session, and also we'll take comments as I invite the chair of this gathering. Our Vice Chancellor was ably represented this morning by the Dean School of Physical Sciences, Professor Adibola. A round of applause for him.
Once again, I welcome you all to this occasion. And you will agree with that the lecture is well delivered. And when the lecture is well delivered, then there might be questions. And so it's not time for us to accommodate questions for our guest lecturer. And I don't know how many we are going to take. The day, we will take as many as possible. As much as possible. Students, you are free to write your question. You can ask or you write and send it to us. And let me start from this side of the divide. If you want to give question, just signify. Yes, number 1. Number 2. Number 3. 4. 5. 6. At the top there, no? Let's start from number 1. Number 1, sir. Can you give me the mic?
Yeah, Francis Akinbi, and that protocol duly observed. I want to appreciate the presenter for giving justice to the issue of water resources management in Nigeria and by extension sub-Sahara West Africa. And I have 3 questions. 1, in the past we've collaborated with your agency on some research, and we have some issues. And we are promised that some of these issues will have been addressed. And there is a current research going on that covers the whole of Niger River Basin, the whole of the river basin, starting from Guinea, Conakry, up to Nigeria. And I also have a PhD student who is working or focusing on Nigeria, the subset of the basin. So the challenges we are having is the access to hydrological data, particularly discharge data and groundwater level data, in order to validate our models. We have about 3 models we are using. We are using GRACE, Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment data, which gives us spatial and temporal variation of groundwater level vis-a-vis the measurement of changes in density. And we also have some geoground methods that we are using. But the major issue is the issue of the data. Then, second, we want to know the method, the models you are using in order to come up with your flooding forecasts, so that we'll be able to more or less compare the one that we are currently proposing to use. Then thirdly, we want to find a way of collaborating with the agency so as to have unlimited or seamless access to various types of hydrological data. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2, please.
listened attentively to your presentation. Well, our normal reaction is to say well presented, but really I felt uncomfortable. You see, yours is an agency that has sole mandate of hydrological resources in the country. Although there are other agencies like the NIMET, like the NGSA, that also doubles on some aspects. And yours is the sole. You see, the challenges, the state of water resources, when you look at those things said or written there, it appears there's no future. That is nothing like solution in the near future. Even on the long term, there seems to be nothing apart from problems, negative information all the time. This is not okay. Yes, we talk of climate change, but we are talking here. Our climate is very clement, very merciful. In fact, I think our problem is more of human change than climate change. Because when somebody like me was a baby in the 60s, I was artificial, and water was running from the taps. Nobody was buying water. I mean, our parents may have been paying. I didn't know that I was so young, so small. But then we were always having water. To the extent that even the public water, we use it for our shower in our house. We don't have to go and get a bucket to go and fetch. Once you run the water inside, you use it all the time. So things appear to be getting worse when human beings are changing, not when the climate was changing. Climate has been changing. I'm a geologist, I'm a hydrogeologist. Climate has been changing. And climate will continue to change. There is nothing human being can do about it. If a human being does not want climate to change, the human being will have to change. The climate will always continue to change. And you see, by now, we should not be talking of flooding again. Rather, what we use flood water to do. See, we discussed some of these things in 2013 during one of the NGSA conferences at I think, yes, 2013. The minister was there, and we all agreed that when we have flood, that is in a wrong management of our water resources. That's what leads to flood. See, you can forecast flood now, fine. So you know what is supposed to come, and you have an idea of the quantity. You know where it's supposed to come from. We should be, in Nigeria, not a single liter of our surface water should go unused. Used for different things. It will be for fishing, it will be for irrigation, but not a single liter should go unused on an annual basis. Because we have, right now, we have some sophistication to the level that we can do a prediction to a reasonable level. So I think our own problem is that of planning. And there seems not to be any positive solution in the horizon. With what Gaddafi did in Libya decades ago, I expect somebody to come here and be talking of, okay, we have artificial river channels where we can divert our flood water into so places. We talk, people think of Chad Basin that is shrinking. Chad Basin is shrinking, and it will continue to shrink no matter what we do, no matter what, except we really think technologically. Importing water from Congo, as some people were postulating sometimes, some years back, it's a wrong approach. I tried to write a paper on it, but it was not presented. It was not accepted for presentation. Maybe it was too radical, I don't know. But it was not accepted for presentation. But the reality is that the Chad Basin that is shrinking is a geological phenomenon. There's nothing this thing can do than to continue either to look for the structure through which the water is disappearing beneath the lake, or to get our flood water routed to that place on an annual basis. Then we can also create artificial channels, just like Gaddafi did. We can create artificial channels. In some places, it doesn't have to be everywhere. But in some places, I think almost 20 states in Nigeria can support that type of artificial channels, whereby flood water can be diverted instead of the water just running away into the ocean where it is not needed. At least for now, it's not needed in the ocean. The ocean is taking care of itself. We need the water, and that's why the water has come to us. And it's our responsibility not to pay for it, but to think of how to do with it. God has given it to us. It's left to us to think of what to do with it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Thank you very much. Standing on the existing protocol. I'm Professor Ahmed Balo of the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science. I want to thank our honorable speaker. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to make comments in the direction of the weaknesses identified in water resources exploitation in the country regarding lack of infrastructure, capacity, and all that. I think that the agency should interface more with the private sector. And that's where we are sitting on a resource that is a multi-billion naira industry that we are not paying attention to. And all the time it's all about the challenges. Every challenge comes with its own opportunity to solve it. But I'm just speaking with a colleague now, and he mentioned that anything that is in the hand of government will not work. Let's take communication, for instance, that when NICEL was in the hand of government, more than 400,000 Nigerians have access to telephone. Today, when it's privatized, it's not, we're all witnesses to it. Between December and March, here, I'm not even talking about the north, there is no rain. But I put it to you, the groundwater resources available here is more than enough to irrigate every piece of land you want to put to cultivation. But who is providing information and resources to exploit these resources? It should be the less. And all we hear is complain, that one is not working. Every problem has provided opportunity for a solution, and that's where I will want the private. I was in Egypt, I think Cairo, I think it was in 3 years ago, on a WMO assignment. You will be as desert as it is. There are shops where irrigation facilities, there are companies where you can just walk in and tell them, I have so much land. I need them to come with the agency of their water people. They will assess the resource. They will even tell you where to go and borrow money to pay for that thing. And that is the line I would suggest that NICEL goes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Dr. Komolafe Akionda from RSG. The question I'm asking is related to the first Professor Akinde on issue of data availability. And you mentioned about different networks of stations that you have installed and to gather different data all over Nigeria. But however, we find it difficult as academics to assess some of this data. I want to believe that there should be collaboration between academics and your agency, because you cannot do it alone. And many of us that are in the field of hydrological modeling, flood modeling, we find it a little bit challenging to get data, for simulation, for modeling, and then to complement what you are doing. In developed countries, we discover that even at each of these agencies, you can easily go to their infrastructure, data infrastructure, to download data without any restriction for your analysis. But in Nigeria today, A lot of money is being spent to acquire data, but those data are never available. You know, it calls for urgent attention, and we should do something about it. Because if we are working and trying to conduct research to assist, and we cannot get data to do our work, I think it becomes, you know, renders our work useless. Please, I want to ask, what's your agency doing to make data available for the academic community? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Professor Albert from Applied Physics Department. I want to also stand on the existing protocol. I particularly thank the lecturer for good presentation. Now, my own worry is about the groundwater system. You see, you can make a lot of modeling using your meteorological data, but there's no way you can make any good prediction of groundwater system except you have institute information. And when I was looking at your presentation, you said that you have 41 boreholes where they are collecting groundwater, data, and I wonder what exactly you want to do with 41 boreholes. Even let's take where as an example, not to talk of Nigeria. You see, it's because we are comfortable in this country, that's why most of our agencies seem to be redundant in doing their mandate. I was in Riyadh in 2011, and simply because I wanted to present paper on water-related issue, somebody from Saudi Arabia decided to give me a special oath. He said, you know that in Saudi Arabia, 1 liter of petroleum is cheaper than 1 liter of water. As we speak, in the Dubai and UAE environment, they are now designing a mechanism of harvesting water from the atmosphere for them to drink. And in Saudi Arabia, because this is a country where rain is not even for more than 5 times in a year, so they are now going to desalination technology. But here in Nigeria, because everybody can punch everywhere to get water. But the groundwater problem is having another serious problem now. And that problem is the aquifer depletion. When geophysics is used, you get all the factors that point to the fact that when you drill borehole, there's no way you are going to encounter water. But when the borehole is drilled, they drill back dry borehole. I've experienced this on many occasions. I know that there's no water there, but the depth at which the water is occurring, which geophysics delineated, is far, far more below. So, what is your agency doing? As a matter of fact, as somebody said, if anything government is doing, it may not be successful. Quote and unquote. I want to say that you need to collaborate. For instance, I have a PhD student that is currently working in Gombe. And of course, I know whether I think you'll be familiar with the Gombe. In Gombe, is a place whereby some aspect of the term they have water, where some other aspect of the term they don't have water. So much so, to the extent that I have a friend that is contemplating about selling his house that he built in the area that doesn't have water. And the same time, and want to go and look for house to rent. So, and we are looking for the data, institute data, borrow information before you can be able to, unravel what is actually the problem. So, to what extent are you collaborating with other state agencies for you to get some of these data? And secondly, you need to, because I please see where you are collaborating with those of us in academia. There's need for you to do serious collaboration with those of us in the academia, so that you exchange idea. We rely on you to get data, while you can rely on us to get out what to do with the data. So how do you what is your agency doing in collaborating with other agencies with a view to banking data? Because in Nigeria we lack data, and without good data, quality data, there are no any meaningful aspects of research that can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Did you raise your hand the other time? Is that kind? Give it to him first. Let him ask question.
Thank you so much. Standing on a distinct people, my name is Fakayode Joseph and you are the president of the Nigerian Association of International Science Students. So I have just one question for you, sir. We learned a lot from everything you said, but I still don't see the collaboration between your agency and the students. Is there like a plan for students in your agency, like trainings, internship, workshop, that can help students in this field of study? So that's my question, sir.
Thank you for your contribution. Yes. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. So starting with this protocol, my name is Oluwatoyin from Marine and Science and Technology Department. So, like the English man would say, information transforms life. So I just want to ask that, what are the federal government, what are they working on in installing the abandoned dams that are in Nigeria? Because I believe that if we have an influx of water in the country, there's a way they can channel this water into dams, so you can restore the dams and bring restoration and sustainability in the country. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Debo Adeyewa, the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science. I'm so happy because at the time when we counted the six, I was the sixth. I didn't see students. I'm so happy that students, at least two, we want to encourage them. Future is wonderful. Wherever you go, show that you are Futurian, you are bold, you are strategic. So I want to commend the two but please mind you. Future, you are too good. Anywhere you go, show yourself that you are strong. And ladies are people wise, I don't know why. You are the one who suffer most from medical depletion and all the rest. Well, let me now come to say, this is a wonderful opportunity. I would like to commend the past dean, the new dean, and for this in particular, the committee, because this is a good one, bringing agencies to talk to us. And this one in particular is very, very important. NASA is a very, very strategic agency. I want to thank them. But let me say that I want to ask some questions before I ask the question. It's important that we collaborate. I also should say that I'm the president of the Nigerian Meteorological Society. And one of the things we wanted to do, in fact, to come to Abuja and see the director of NISA. Yes, we have collaboration already with NIMET and other agencies. But NISA is very, very crucial and strategic. We're talking about collaboration. We're talking about how the changing climate and all this, and no one can do it alone. I appreciate the fact that you have underscored a very important problem. That is the fragmenting, the whole thing is fragmented. It's the coordination of the management of water resources or hydrology is fragmented. I remember that WASCA had to, through us, donate some hydrological equipment to some agencies in Ondo State. And you see that NIMET would say, I like what you say, that you are the sole body responsible for water resources. But NIMET would say we are. So the question therefore is, what's the relationship between NISA and the World Meteorological Organization? The World Meteorological Organization stands on two pivotal points. That is meteorology and hydrology. We need to understand. Now, Nigeria has a permanent representative in WMO, which is NIMET. But I would want to see you also standing tall and strong. But you see, we have these problems because of lack of collaboration, as I said. The societies are strong, but many times we receive cold shoulders from our agencies, and that's not the way it should be. All over the world, they are strong together. So if you have collaboration with WMO, then how are we bringing this to our students, to our lecturers, to societies? How do we change? Now, somebody was talking, let me just say something little about weather modification, and that is meteorology. But now we are talking about weather modification in terms of geoengineering from space. How do we make water available in other parts of the country and so on? But we're not talking about that. Many times we're talking about elementary issues when we should be at an advanced level. But together, with students doing research, with lecturers, with societies, with geologists, agrogeologists, and others, geophysicists, meteorologists. This university has it all. We are the richest. Because in heaven above, in the sky, we have meteorology. On earth below, we have geophysics and geology. The earth and others are very down. We are the richest. So please, can we have this relationship that can take us far? Thank you.
Thank you very much. No other question. Okay, you have one there, please.
I would like to thank the speaker for his wonderful lecture. I have just a question. My question is, what are the dangers place in managing flood in flood-prone areas?
Yes, definitely.
Protocol. My name is Umar from the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science. My question is directed towards the speaker, and it goes to what are the measures that the Nigerian government are taking in this aspect of ideological problems? And I would like to take Kogi State, because that's the state I come from. You can see that almost every year, basically every year, we experience flooding in that part of the state. But instead of coming with solutions or ideas that will mitigate this problem, we can see that we only talk about the challenges, talk about how people can run away, as you said. We only forecast, and you give people the forecast, early weather monitoring, and they run away. But can we do it in such a way that they won't have to run away again, but we can bring a solution to this problem of flooding? Thank you.
Thank you very much. While we come over to the speaker, so that he will come and the lecturer will come and tell us solutions. I want to ask my question, sir. And my question is water everywhere. Here there's no water. Discuss.
Thank you very much for your questions. The questions are many, and I will try my best as possible to answer them. I may not answer them 100% to your satisfaction, but I will try my best. Thank you. The first speaker was asking about issue of research, and we only complain, and there seems to be no solution to water supply and collaboration, challenges of hydrological data and groundwater level data. Now, if you talk about the issue of access to water supply, now let me bring you back to institutional mandate. Every institution has its specific mandate that is assigned to it, by the law establishing it. And that is why when an institution tries to leave what the mandate that established it to do and dabbles into another institution's function, which we are seeing now, it's not the best. Now, let me tell you, who is responsible for giving water supply to Nigerians? If you know very well, it's not NISA. It's not the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. No. The responsibility of providing access to potable water to Nigerians lies with the state government and the local government. The state water agencies, rural water supply, local governments, authorities, their sole responsibility is to provide access to potable water to people. Now, NISA's function is not to drill boreholes to give water supply. That is not its function. Its function is to provide the data that will help you look for where are these water resources, how much water can you abstract in social environment, whether both surface and groundwater. You need hydrological data. For instance, you want to develop a dam for water supply, irrigation, and whatever. You need hydrological data. NISA's responsibility is to establish hydrological stations and collect hydrological data that will help you plan in designing that dam that you want to do. NISA is not coming to construct a dam for you. Neither will NISA go and drill boreholes specifically for providing water supply. But like I said, borehole data inventory, I have said it. Now, somebody is talking about issue of data. It is not easy to get data. It's so expensive to collect data. Now, this data, like I said, several agencies are involved in collecting this data. And by law, I said, they are supposed to give this data to NISA. Even some of you that you drill borehole in your house, you are by law compelled to give us that data. But what do we see? No. Some will not give you access to their borehole. They will not give you the data. And the problem we are having is, on this issue of data, is there is so much, especially groundwater, that somebody is talking about. There is so much unconnected drilling of boreholes that are going on everywhere in Nigeria. And I said earlier, there is a borehole data format that has been developed by stakeholders in the industry. And whoever is drilling a borehole, whether state, government, individual, you are compelled to fill that borehole data format and give us that information. With this data, you'll be able to, if you are looking for water resources for whatever reason, I said earlier, this data is to innovative plan, design, and execute a water resources project. Another allied project like road, bridges, and so on, you need hydrological data to do that. And you can come to the agency for this data. We can give you this data. As a student, as a lecturer, carrying out research, we are obliged to give you this data. But on the condition that you will have to give us that report of that research you are doing. Sometimes we collaborate in doing that research with you so that we too can also benefit from your weight of knowledge and experience. So, NISA doesn't give water. The boreholes that we drill are strictly for groundwater monitoring, not for water supply. Even though we have been having challenges because some of these boreholes have been converted to water supply boreholes by people or community that feel that they don't have water and we have a borehole just to collect information on groundwater. They vandalize it, or they turn those groundwater monitoring boreholes to water supply borehole. So the access to water supply is not nicer, it's not Federal Ministry of Water Resources, but the Federal Ministry of Water Resources do complement the effort of state government and local government by drilling some intervention boreholes, even though its function is purely policy issues. But they go ahead to complement the effort of state government in drilling boreholes for water supply, as well as constructing dams. Some of these dams have been handed over to the state government to manage for water supply. But what do we see? Most of the dams that are being drilled and handed by the federal government to state are just lying fallow. They are not being utilized. So who do you blame? Is it the federal government or is it the state government? Then the same person asked about the models that we are using to forecast flooding. We use 3 models. One is SWAT, Josephine, and one other. But if you are so keen to know these models, I can get the names for you later. So actually, this forecasting, we are not doing it alone. At the beginning of this flood forecast, we were using consultants from universities. We are using professors from some universities that we have collaboration and signed MOU with them. They were the ones guiding us in modeling this flood forecasting. But then, for how long does it continue? NISA has to train itself to do the forecasting. And now, our staff have joined them. They do their own forecasting. NISA staff do their own forecasting. And then we look at those results and, if possible, match them and then draw our conclusion from those results. Then the second question is, you are still talking about the state of water resources, no solution in the future, impact of climate change, not climate change, but mostly attributed to human activities, as well as the Chad Basin is shrinking. What are we doing about water transfer and things like that? First of all, yes, climate change is affecting water resources as well as human activities. In fact, the worst is human activities. Take, for instance, we are trying to control the uncontrollable borehole drilling all over the country. And the federal government has been trying to create an agency, the Nigeria Integrated Water Resources Management Commission, to regulate the use of water. Up to now, that commission is having headache in the National Assembly because it will not be passed, simply because people look at water as a social services, not an economic resource, so water must be provided free of charge. But at what cost? It takes money to provide access to water. But then, this law to regulate water is not to stop you from drilling your borehole or fetching your water from your hand-up well. No. We are talking about commercial usage, industrial usage of water resources. You cannot just go and establish your water factory plant to be selling water at a commercial rate and without paying anything to the federal government. It's not supposed to be so. You establish an industry and you are using a lot of water as well as creating pollution problems. And you want to go scot-free without being held accountable and responsible? No. So, on the issue of interbasin water transfer, what are we doing about it? If you recall, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has been championing not long ago interbasin water transfer to charge to the Chad from the Congo Basin. And there are so many challenges why that project cannot be feasible. And even in NISA, we have considered that, and it may not be feasible for some reasons. One, the economy of doing that. How much does it take to do that? And even if you have the finance to do it, when will we finish that project? In the next 20 to 30 years, so we can complete that project. And by then, those countries that you intend to transfer that water passes through their countries. A lot of political challenges. If you are in good time with the government of one country today, tomorrow another person is ruling that country, and if he happens to be hostile to you, you go and block the channel, stop water from flowing, or pollute that channel. Or they may feel you are taking too much of their water and creating problems in their own country. So there is economic challenge, there is political challenge. So it's so difficult to do that. The agency is trying to look into that on its own. The Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, has challenged the agency to find local solution to the drying up of the Lake Chad. And therefore, NISA has constituted a committee right now to find local solution to the drying up of the Lake Chad. We have considered so many proposals, but the most feasible one out is not the use of groundwater. It's not the use of Nubian sandstone water that Libya is sharing with some Arab countries. But the solution is we are looking at the possibility of using surface water. Now, if you look, the perennial flooding that we are experiencing in Nigeria, most of those excess flood waters are generated within Nigeria. Very few water comes from Lado Dam from Cameroon. And like I said, the Benue River has more than 10 tributaries, and they generate within the country and flow into the River Benue and contribute much of the flood waters that happens during this period of the year. July, August, and September is the big period of the flooding. So we are looking into the possibility of diverting this excess flood water just at the confluence of the River Niger and Benue, or just below it. Transfer this water into the Lake Chad. We have made that proposal. We are waiting for the Vice President to invite us to present that proposal to him. And you know, whenever you talk about water transfer, you have to think of so many things. So many things, because the people who resist it say, you are transferring excess water from my place and taking it to somewhere else, thereby creating problem for us. No. Is the water we want to transfer to Lake Chad is the excess flood water, and we are not diverting all the excess. So in that way, we are managing flooding. That if you used to experience flooding every year along these river banks, there will not know the excess flood water. We are also looking at generating hydropower so that those communities that feel that they are being shortchanged by taking water from their area and diverting it to water-stressed region, we recommended that there should be generation of hydropower, and this power should be subsidized to the amount of people that may feel aggrieved at the end of the day. Now, we are also trying to create detention basins or detention basins, structural features to hotel excess flood waters. The agency is also trying to dredge the River Niger at Lokoja down to the Atlantic Ocean. There are proposals like that by the agency. They are in the pipeline. So we are doing something about interbasin water transfer locally as charged by the Vice President of Nigeria. Now, interface to the private sector. by providing information for development of groundwater development. You know, like I said, if you want data, as a consultant, as a contractor, it's not free. You have to pay. Because data costs money to collect, you have to pay for that data. But as a researcher, as a student, you will not pay for that data. But what we request is that, give us your report of that research at the end of the day, or we participate jointly in that research with you. So we give data free of charge to academic researchers and students who are doing their project or things like that. We give them data free. Then, network of hydrological stations. You said only some of these data are not available for simulation modeling. Yes, even us in the agency, we face this issue of lack of when we are doing modeling, because the data are not there. And like I said, these data are scattered. They are scattered in the repository of different organizations or institutions. And sometimes they will not release this information even to NISA, when the law says you are by law required to release this information to NISA, so that anybody that have cause to carry out research on groundwater, surface water, anywhere, you can come and assess that data as a researcher or student. But for commercial use, you will have to pay, because that is not. So we too, we have this problem of getting the relevant data to carry out our modeling. So it's not easy. And like I said, they have not been coordinated hydrological data collection in the country. No, not until now. NISA is trying to collaborate with those institutions that collect this data, to collaborate with the intention of giving us this data, so that whoever that wants to use that data can come to the agency, whether we give you free if you qualify or you pay for it. But like I said, we are having problem of getting access to those institutional individual boards, and there is nothing we can do if they say we are not giving you this information. And the problem again, those boards are just drilled, no collection of hydrological data. There are thousands of boreholes that have been drilled in the country, but there is no single hydrological data collected on those boreholes. So how do you do it? So it's a challenge. And even the quality and responsibility of covering the entire nation, both surface and groundwater, we are inadequately funded, seriously inadequately funded. Why I say so is that NISA has signed a memorandum of understanding with several universities. Memorandum of understanding with this university. We have received the request, but it came very late, because the intention was that when my DG is coming here to present this paper to our university, but the time was too short. Even if he was to be here to present this paper, there is no way we would have signed the MOU to our university, because the time was too short. When we receive a draft for the memorandum of understanding, we have to look at it, both legally and things like that. Then we agree with our own copy, we send it to you. You too, you look at it, give it to your legal people to look at it, they vet it, and once we come to a final draft, we now sign the memorandum of understanding. And we are looking forward to doing that with this agency. And therefore, the issue of students want to do training with NISA, you are welcome, as long as we have MOU. University professors that, okay, they want to come to NISA, they want data for research, capacity building, all are involved in the MOU. So we look forward to signing that MOU, and most of the issues that have been raised by the staff here and the students, I believe will be taken care of by signing that memorandum of understanding. Then the issue of groundwater system, 41 boreholes, like I said, yes, that is what we have. And on issue of collaboration with other agencies, we collaborate. We collaborate with NIMET collects rainfall, and rainfall is one of the data that we use for our flood forecast. When they release their seasonal climate prediction, then NISA comes out with its annual flood out every year. So we collaborate with NIMET in terms of data sharing and information sharing, as well as data collection, training, and so on. So we collaborate effectively. It's not only with NIMET, we collaborate with other sister institutions like National Space Research and Development Agency. We collaborate with the National Emergency Management Agency. We collaborate with the River Basin Development Authority. So there are effective collaborations going on between agencies. And then the issue of collaboration with agency in training, I've already said it, that once we sign the memorandum of understanding, that opens door to all this issue of collaboration with this industry in many aspects. And then what are we NISA doing to restore abandoned boreholes in the country? Well, NISA is not in charge of dams. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources, they are in charge of dams. You know that water is on the concurrent list. Therefore, state government, local government also are empowered to construct the dams. But then, NISA doesn't construct dams, but we are looking at construction of detention and retention basins as a flood management strategy in the country, as well as dredging of some rivers. We are thinking, as well as doing this interbasin water transfer, we are thinking of doing that all for flood management and provision of access to water supply, agricultural activities, hydropower generation. So that is that. Then the dam too. You know, I said earlier, one of the functions of the agency is, I said, discharge measurement and sedimentation studies on our rivers and dams. Now the dams, because of siltation, drastically reduces the water storage in these dams. And sometimes they overflow their banks and cause flooding, just like what happened in Alau Dam in Borno State last year in Maiduguri. It's mainly caused because of siltation. So the agency is doing what we call siltation studies of our rivers and dams, because siltation has a very negative consequences on water availability for whatever use. When rivers get silted, the availability of water is reduced drastically, then it will cause flooding, seriously. Then if a dam is silted, it will almost render that dam useless, because it might dry up because of siltation. But NISA is assisting with information to the dam managers, what they can do to continue to maintain water in their dams and to make sure that our rivers doesn't get silted and cause flooding to the country. So we are collecting data on sedimentation, as well as collecting volume of water in our rivers through our high and low discharge measurements on our perennial, some of our perennial rivers. Okay, we are talking about hydrometeorological data and what is the relationship between NISA, WMO. We lack collaboration. No. The agency is effectively collaborating with World Meteorological Organization. Part of WMO activities is International Hydrological Program, and that is where NISA effectively participates with WMO. WMO also collects the hydrological data that the agency collects. The WMO also requests for that data. And we have been collaborating with the WMO in terms of training our staff, our hydrologists. They train them. And then they also assist us with some of this equipment to install for hydrological data collection. So we effectively collaborate with WMO. The only thing is that you are a meteorologist. WMO seems to marginalize hydrological services. And there is a challenge there. We are looking at the issue of, okay, we want to get our World Hydrological Services Organization created so that we don't suffer marginalization under World Meteorological Organization, because World Meteorological Organization gives attention 100% to meteorology, not hydrology. So we are battling to see how we can get ourselves out of the marginalization by WMO. So we collaborate with them effectively. Then, what is the agency doing in managing flood in areas that are affected? And somebody mentioned, NISA, like I said, is an advocacy agency. We are not supposed to go and create dams, buffer dams to control flood. We are not supposed to do that. Our mandate is to give you that information about flooding. Where is flooding going to happen? When? What is the magnitude? What are the communities affected? Now, when this information is made available, they are distributed to state government, state emergency management agencies, national emergency management agencies. They use this information to plan evacuation. Somebody said you move people to where? NISA is not supposed to build flood camps to locate victims of flooding. It is the responsibility of state government as well as NEMA. The various SEMS, NEMA, they are responsible for evacuation of people. Our oath is to give you the information. Then the rest is for the NEMA, emergency response agencies, to take over from there. But apart from that, like I said, we also participate in some of these emergency management activities, because once we give you this information on flooding annually and weekly, we do flood forecasting every week. And this information are available on NISA flood dashboard. They are also on our web, www.nisa.government.ng. And you go to social media handles like Facebook and Instagram, you get access to this information. And once you get access to this information, it is not the responsibility of NISA to come and say, okay, your community is going to suffer heavy flooding this week. So, no, that's not the work of NISA. You see, the way to tackle flooding is not the responsibility of one person, an institution. It is the whole of society. Multifaceted approach. Okay, NISA and NIMED, they are doing their work of forecasting. Okay, SEMA and NEMA, they are doing their work of evacuating people. The state government is building camps, flood camps for people, and to make sure that those people are comfortable in terms of food, water supply, medicine, and so on. They don't like it. But you know that we are not effective in doing that. The state government is not effective. Some of these institutions that are supposed to do it have not been able to effectively discharge those functions. And there are a lot of issues there. Politics, as well as finance constraint, is there. So that is it. Then what are the measures Nigerian government is doing in this state? NISA is an institution of the government of Nigeria and is the federal government. What NISA is doing is federal government. What NEMA is doing is federal government. What NIMED is doing. So, what NISA does is to give you information about flooding, where they are going to happen, the time they are going to happen, what is the magnitude of this. So it's left for you, even as an individual. You have to assess your level of vulnerability to flooding. And it's not difficult to know it. If you are living along riverbanks, floodplains, waterways, low-lying areas, then you are vulnerable to flooding. You don't need to be told that you are vulnerable. You know it. And this is something that happens year in, year out. So why do you stay when you have received information that you have been warned that flooding is going to happen? Because flood doesn't recognize anybody. And so people have to take that personal responsibility to move themselves to safety. Because let me tell you, neighbor will not be there when flood is happening in a community. When emergencies happen like that, the immediate environment are the first responders. Right? Before neighbor call, before SEMS call. Take for instance, we have forecasted 1,249 communities to suffer flooding. So how does NISA go carry out sensitization in this 1,249 in 176 local government areas, 30 states plus FCT? Is that possible? No. So tackling flooding is the responsibility of the whole society. Everybody has a role to play. Don't say, okay, don't stay in flood-prone areas. But what about if you are traveling? The road, you might get caught up by flooding on that road you are going through. So you are affected. So NISA is collaborating with Kogi State government in flood insurance. Flood insurance, we have identified specific communities in Lokoja, because Lokoja is where the two rivers meet and it always experiences flooding. So we are collaborating with Kogi State government, two insurance companies, to identify specific individuals that suffer casualty from flooding with a view of giving them financial assistance to help them. So that is it on Kogi. Then what are the water everywhere, but there is none to drink. Yes, there are so many things. Human activities contribute a lot, like somebody said. Human activities contribute to water pollution. Apart from human activities, there are natural pollutions that happen because of chemical interactions in water and causing pollution. So the issue is, we have to take water as an economic resource and make sure that we don't do activities that jeopardize availability of clean water for everybody. So it's also a responsibility of everybody to make sure that nobody pollutes your water and hold the person responsible that pollutes your water. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lecturer, for the interesting questions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take a short break before we take the goodwill messages, as I invite for short entertainment at Kiwi.
Àti ìbò bí ṣọ̀tá aráyé ni Yorùbá sọ tó tó ṣe bí òwe òkùnkùn sì wà lójú ibú omi, ẹ̀mí Ọlọ́run sì ń rá bàbà lórí omi. Ọlọ́run wípé jẹ́ kí omi abẹ́ òun kó kúrò àjọpọ̀, kí ilẹ̀ gbígbẹ sì ṣàfarahàn. Ó sì rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọlọ́run sì rí pé ilẹ̀ gbígbẹ náà ní ilẹ̀ àti àpapọ̀ omi ní òkun. Agbẹ̀rẹ̀ mi ṣe tó mọ mi rẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀dáró, àlùkò mi ṣe tó mọ mi rẹ̀ bí a ti sùn. Ọ̀rọ̀ Olúwa lòbí pè mí, fọlọ́run sọ lórúkọ bàbá tó bí mi lọ́mọ àpèké àtẹ̀wé rẹ̀ mi jẹ́. Èmi la àpèké tó fẹ́ ní ìyìn rẹ̀ tó kù sọ́dọ̀ àgẹ̀mọ́ alágẹ̀mọ́ àbídọ́ wíníwíní.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we now take goodwill messages. We have two ministries represented here today. We have the Ministry of Education, the Honorable Commissioner of Education, Professor Idekele Yachibefun, is represented by Mrs. Modupe Odidiomo. Can we have you, madam?
The chief host, Professor A.T. Oladiji, ably represented by Professor Femi Barnabas, Professor Ayodeji Oluleye, and other principal officers represented here, esteemed faculty members, valued students, and honored invitees. Sorry, I have to recognize my Lord Temporal. I have to recognize the gentlemen of the press. Thank you for this opportunity. My boss, the Professor Idekele Yachibefun, Commissioner for Education, will have been here, but is engaged somewhere else. So he has asked me to read this goodwill message on his behalf. It is with great pleasure and deep sense of responsibility that I extend my warmest greetings to everyone gathered here today for the 12th annual lecture of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, titled Water Resources Management in Nigeria, Building a Sustainable Future for Economic Development in a Changing Climate. A lecture dedicated to meet our water resource challenges and to honor distinguished men and women who have carved a niche for themselves in their chosen profession. The Federal University of Technology, Akure, as we all know, is a citadel of learning that has a global recognition. Hence, the push for academic excellence has been a norm since her establishment. The delivery of this lecture, the 12th in a series, coupled with cream of distinguished men and women in academia here present, attests to the fact that the university standard. Can we give a round of applause to Futa? Thank you very much. Today we are privileged to welcome Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, ably represented by Mr. Jabo, the Director General and CEO of Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, to this esteemed institution. His expertise and commitment in the field of water resources management are exemplary, and we are blessed to have listened to his wealth of knowledge and insight today. As we face the challenges brought about by climate change, the importance of effective water resources management cannot be overstated. It is a vital pillar for sustainable development, economic growth, and environmental preservation. Architect Imar's weight of knowledge and experience has surely inspired us to reflect our roles in fostering a sustainable future for our communities. I therefore commend and felicitate the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences for organizing this important event and for their continuous efforts in promoting knowledge and dialogue on pressing environmental issues. With pleasure, I equally wish to extend my warm congratulations to all award recipients of this day. Your outstanding achievements, academic excellence, and dedication to the society are truly inspiring. To the faculty and staff, thank you for your tireless effort in supporting the management towards making this lecture achievable. Your commitment to academic excellence is evident to the achievements we celebrate today. Thank you all for your attention. I wish you all safe journey back home. Once again, congratulations to the entire members of Earth and Mineral Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take the second goodwill message from the Ministry of Water Resources and Public Sanitation, Honorable Ayodele Abuki, represented this afternoon by Mrs. Adetoye. A round of applause for Mrs. Adetoye.
Special greetings from His Excellency, Honorable Mokirin Sayida, the Governor of Ondo State, and my own Commissioner, Honorable Ayodele Abuki. He would have been here if not for the state assignment. And he said, Mrs. Adetoye, go and represent me, because that is your own department. And I'm happy to be here today, being a geologist, and I've learned a lot. Distinguished Chairman, respected faculty members, esteemed scholars, honored guests, and dear students, it is my pleasure to extend heartfelt greetings to the School of Arts and Mineral Science, my own school, during this 12th annual lecture themed Water Resources Management in Nigeria, Building a Sustainable Future for Economic Development in a Changing Climate. Water is not only an essential resource for life, but also a fundamental element for national development, supporting agriculture, industry, energy, and human settlement. Therefore, effective management of water resources is vital for sustainable development, poverty alleviation, and environmental conservation. As climate change continues to present unprecedented challenges with significant implications for national economic development, food security, and human health, this lecture serves as an invaluable opportunity to explore innovative strategies, sound policies, and sustainable practices for the efficient management of our water resources. I commend the school for its steadfast dedication to research, knowledge dissemination, and capacity building in critical areas that directly influence our nation's growth and resilience. I am confident that the insights and recommendations from today's lecture will motivate practical and proactive measures toward a more secure and sustainable water future for Nigeria. The Ondo State Government, under the leadership of His Excellency, Honorable Mokirin Sayida, has some commitment to providing clean water and ensuring food security. Initiatives such as the construction and rehabilitation of dams and water schemes, procurement of water testing kits, and provision of solar-powered pumps are commendable steps toward enhancing irrigation development in the state. At this junction, let me also let you understand, like one of our professors mentioned, Professor Suwaju Bello, truly most of our children today, they don't even know the meaning of water running from the tap. That is true. But let me give you good news now. By this time next year, I'm telling you that water will start running in the 6 local governments of the state, plus Ilẹ̀-Olújí-Òkè-Ìgbò, 2 AFD and AFDB projects from Owena multipurpose dam. We are on it. 2 days ago, we have awarded lot 1. Next week, we are going to award lot 2. I'm telling you, by this time next year, you will be in your different houses in the central senatorial district of Ondo State, plus Okegbo and Olújí-Òkè-Ìgbò, and you will be fetching water. You will be taking your bath, like Professor said. It is true, sir. For some decades now, it has not been happening, but it will happen now. Thank you so much. And apart from that, His Excellency has graciously approved the provision and distribution of solar irrigation pump. That irrigation pump is solar. Now we are going to distribute to all our farmers, and we will make sure we make dams available. With that of Akko, the dam at Akko is functional now. It has been rehabilitated. The one at Awara, we are working on it. And even the one at multipurpose is going to be used for agriculture. We will invite most of you, the academics, to be part of the platform of the program soon. And apart from that, the ministry we are planning to have a kind of awareness program. Not awareness like that. We are going to have a kind of council meeting comprising the ministry, government part, and the academic. Soon, you will be invited. On this note, I wish the organizers, speakers, and participants a productive, wonderful engagement. May this lecture signify another milestone in promoting sustainable resource management and in shaping a better future for our country. God bless Nigeria. God bless Ondo State. God bless Federal University of Technology, Akure. God bless my own department, School of Arts and Mineral Sciences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Adektoye. Thank you very much. We'll go on to the awards, but before that, let me introduce the President, FUTA Alumni Worldwide, Engineer Adeyemi Bello. He's also an alumni of the Geophysics Department, SEMS. Thank you very much for your presence. And by the way, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I was just informed that Akeke Akewi is a geology student. Can we celebrate her once again? I would just want to actually inspire other students who are giftings aside coming to study a particular course. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the awards now, and it's going first to a distinguished guest speaker, and that's the Distinguished Personality Award for Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA. And of course, we know he's been represented well today by Mr. Stephen Jabo. Can we invite Mr. Jabo, please? And for that presentation, we'll call on the Vice Chancellor to do justice to the presentation. Madam Vice Chancellor.
The School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, the Federal University of Technology Akure, Distinguished Personality Award, presented to Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, Director General, CEO, Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency. Distinguished guest lecturer at the 12th SEMS Annual Lecture in recognition of his leadership in managing water resources in Nigeria, given this Friday, 22nd August 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you once again On behalf of the Director General, I want to say we are grateful to the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences and the authority of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. We say thank you and we are grateful for this award. Thank you once again.
Thank you, our distinguished guest lecturer. The second award, which is Recognition and Appreciation Award, is going to Professor Pius Adekunle Enikoshi. And I will just read an abridged version of this citation. Professor Pius Adekunle Enikoshi is a distinguished professor of applied geophysics in the Department of Applied Geophysics at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. His exemplary leadership was showcased during his tenure as Dean of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, where he served from August 1, 2017 to July 30, 2021. It's a good place to clap. Thank you very much. During this time, he played a pivotal role in fostering academic excellence and promoting research initiatives that significantly advanced the school's mission. So we'd like to invite the Vice Chancellor once again to do the presentation of this award to Professor Pius Adekunle Enikoshi, Recognition and Appreciation Award. Madam Vice Chancellor.
School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Recognition and Appreciation Award presented to Professor Pius Adekunle Enikoshi. The Dean, School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, 2017 to 2021, at the 12th SEMS annual lecture in recognition of his selfless contributions to the school's advancement. Given this day, Friday, 22nd August 2025. Congratulations, sir.
I don't intend to waste your time. 8 years ago, I was elected the dean of this golden school. 2021, after 4 years, I left as dean. During my stay in office, I saw love. I felt love. And I felt the support of both staff and students of this school. The last 4 years, I also saw love and support from my successor in office. What today crowns everything, especially as I prepare to bow out of the system and the services of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I have no iota of regret for serving this school, and I want to praise both staff and students of this school for recognizing me today. I think this is the right time. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Congratulations, sir. Finally, we'll take the last one for Professor Adeleye Yekini Abiodun Anifuwoshi, who has joined us virtually, but he has a representative here this afternoon, the HOD RSG, Professor Suleiman Abdulaziz Adeboye as the representative. Can we put our hands together for him? I'll read an abridged version of the citation. Professor Adeleye Yekini Biodun Anifowoshi is a fellow of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society and a respected professor of geological remote sensing in the Department of Remote Sensing and Geoscience Information System here at the Federal University of Technology, Akure. He serves as the Dean of the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences from August 2nd, 2021 to July 31st, 2025. During his tenure, he was committed to the growth and development of the school and made significant contributions to its educational and research advancements. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present for this award of recognition and appreciation Professor Adeleye Yekini Biodun Anifowoshi. Madam Vice Chancellor, please.
School of Earth and Mineral Sciences, the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Recognition and Appreciation Award presented to Professor Adeleye Yekini Biodun Anifowoshi. At the 12th SEMS annual lecture, in recognition of his selfless contributions to the school's advancement, even this day, Friday, 22nd August 2025. Congratulations, sir.
Good afternoon, our distinguished guests, the guest speaker, distinguished professors. I want to deeply appreciate the honor bestowed on me to accept this award on behalf of the former Dean, Professor Adeleye Biodun Anifowoshi. The former Dean is more or less everything to us in SEMS. He's a mentor, he's a teacher. In fact, he's a father. We regard him as our academic father. I want to pray that the Almighty God continue to sustain him with good health. Thank you.
Congratulations to Professor Anifowoshi. Finally, we're winding down. I'd like to bring a member of the annual lecture planning committee for the vote of thanks, Professor Kehinde Mogaji.
On behalf of the annual lecture committee, I would like to give this vote of thanks. First and foremost, we give glory to God for making this 12th edition of the School of Arts and Mineral Science annual lecture possible. We would like to express our deep gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Adenike Temitayo Oladiji, FAS, for her unwavering support. May FUTA continue to prosper under your leadership. We also extend our sincere thanks to our distinguished guest lecturer, Architect Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, for sharing his profound insight on the theme, Water Resources Management in Nigeria, Building a Sustainable Future Nigeria, for economic development, changing in climate change. Your expertise, thought-provoking presentation have provided us with a deep insight for understanding of the challenges involved in managing water resources in Nigeria and being a changing climate. To all our guest lecturers, we cherish your presence, which has made this event truly special. Thank you very much. We also want to extend our profound appreciation to our former dean, who joined us virtually to attend this particular occasion. We would like to express our appreciation to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, other principal officers, deans, directors, heads of departments, and both academics and non-academic staff of our university. We appreciate each and every one of you for attending this particular occasion. Thank you very much. We wish you travel nation back to your destination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're finally here, but I'd like to take some announcements. All the members of staff of SEMS are to meet at the SEMS conference room right after this event. And then we'd like to take photographs at the entrance of this auditorium after we take the footer and the national anthem. Shall we rise, everyone? Thank you very much. We call it a day on this 12th anniversary award. Thank you one and all. So can we find out the entrance of the auditorium to take some group photographs?